Ghana's President John Mahama has banned public officials from first-class air travel. This is in renewed efforts to cut wasteful spending as the West African nation implements an IMF aid deal to revive state finances. Ghana is preparing to hold presidential and parliamentary elections next year, and with the opposition accusing the government ministers of inflating contract sums, inappropriate spending will likely be a top campaign issue. Ghana, a major producer of cocoa, gold and oil, began a 3-year program with the International Monetary Fund in April to fix its economy, which has been dogged by high deficits, a widening public debt and an unstable local currency. Let's discuss this further and analyze the impact of these austerity measures. And I'm joined live in Lagos, Nigeria, by Nelson Ekujumi. He's a political analyst. Nelson, thank you. First, President Mahama of Ghana is just the latest of several African leaders, including Tanzania's John Magufuli and Nigeria's Muhammadu Buhari, who have issued directives aimed at cutting down at expenditure. In fact, we have it on record that the Nigerian President Buhari, for instance, traveled economy class on one of his international trips. Do such measures have a practical impact on cutting costs, or are they more useful in their political symbolism, though?
Well, thank you very much. The truth of the matter is that what Africa has lacked over the years is the right political leadership. And right here in Nigeria, we have seen it being displayed by the President Muhammadu Buhari with his austerity measures that is in tandem with the reality of the times. And his flying economy class is also a reflection of the lifestyle of this Nigerian leader who, over the years, has been known for living a Spartan lifestyle. And it is a wake-up call to other public office holders as well as private individuals in their, in their respective fields that, the sign of the time is one that calls for prudency and fiscal responsibility in every facet of our life, because the demands or the wants of the human beings has never in any way diminished, but rather the resources for meeting those needs are very, very limited, and scarce. So it behoves on, the African people, to work in tandem with the wishes and, attitude being exhibited by the current leadership in Nigeria and Tanzania.
Well, the austerity measures, as you put it there, are in tandem with the economic climate of the time. But let's use Nigeria as an example at the moment. Do we have any idea of how much the austerity measures currently imposed have actually saved the country?
Well, thank you very much. For now, we don't have the actual estimates at our fingertips, but we are very, very sure that with this right leadership that we have in Nigeria, we have been able to save quite a lot. You realize that on assumption of office, the government introduced what was known as the Treasury Single Account to cost wastages as well as, block loopholes for corruption. But by and large, we are very, very much optimistic that the resources that would have been saved by this, pulling down extravagant and unnecessary wastages in our public life, would be very, very monumental to be plowed back into, productive sectors of the economy that will reflect on the lives of the people as well as the economy of the country.
Well, there are those who would argue, though, that in many African countries, government spending is among the key drivers of local economies, and that such austerity measures might actually turn out to be counterproductive. Would you agree with that assessment?
No, I would disagree totally. When we are talking about governments, cutting down expenditure, we are not talking about cutting down expenditure that will aid human capital development. We are talking about cutting down expenditure for things that are very, very much unnecessary. You see a lot of public office holders in Africa go on, on visits or on inspection of projects or on tours, and they fly the most expensive jets. They incur huge costs to the public treasury. You see them go with a very, very large and unnecessary and unwarranted entourage, people that have no business, traveling with, on these trips. So what we are saying in effect is that in as much as we realize that government is the biggest spender in Africa, because government is the largest employer of labor, we are saying that government should, because of the reality of the times, prune down its extravagant and wasteful lifestyle. They have so many aids that they don't need. They engage in lavish parties, lavish ceremonies. You realize that at the last Independence Day celebration of Nigeria, as well as the celebration in Tanzania, the cost that was budgeted by the state was very, very much minimal compared to what was the trend in the past. And these are the areas we are looking at. We are not saying that government should limit its spending on necessary infrastructure that will reflect in the lives of the people. But what we are looking at is the wastages in the system that, that government has to do away with.
All right, Nelson Ekujumi, he's a political analyst, joining me there from Lagos. Thank you.